Hi everyone, this is Lisa again from lisarts.com, where you can go and see where my classes are. Today we're going to color this tiger eye. Yesterday I transferred the image onto my paper. It's very light because it's done with a white transfer paper. You can also do it in pencil, freehand draw it. You can, if you don't have brown paper, use a paper bag. Use construction paper, or even use cardboard, because I want that brown color that's in the tiger eye. I have a nice brown cardstock, and then I can use my cardboard like padding underneath. You can have your tiger printed out, and you can have it on your computer screen as well, where you can see a lot of the detail. So that you can add as much detail as you possibly can. We're going to start with the eyeball and go out, but today we're going to work in a lot of mixed media. I have my crayons, markers, colored pencils, whatever you would like to use. And the reason for that is whatever you have around the house, I hope that I can help you make something. When you're mixing media, you want to think about what you're mixing. Colored pencil and crayons are both waxy, so they work well together. They should. I'm just as much experimenting as you. And markers are going to be liquidy, but then dry, very permanent. So they might resist the crayons, but I know they work well with the colored pencil. Now, the color of the paper is brown, so I'm going to use that as part of my tiger, at least to begin with. So I only have to worry about finding what's lighter. There's a highlight in the eye. There are some areas of fur. And by the way, it's good to color in the direction of the fur always. So I'm going to fill these areas in with a little bit of white underneath. It's not that strong a white, but that's okay. Because then if I want to erase or I want to come back and make changes, make some parts brighter. You know, the whole reason we see white fur is because some of the white is stronger and some of it's less. So it's okay if the paper shows through, and it's okay if some of the white is lighter. I'm even going to put a little bit of white into some of the light areas of the eye, because I'll go over that with the yellow. The eye is predominantly yellow, but it has some green and blue and a whole lot of other colors in it. And then I can do some colored pencil as well. I do want a little bit of blue in my highlight. So I'm taking some blue. I'm actually doing it in marker. I'm mixing up everything. I hope you see that this is going to be a fun way to work, where we don't have to stick to all the rules. If I want to go ahead and put some dark down in some dark area, I can just go ahead and do that. I can do black where there's actually black. And in the beginning, I'm just kind of blocking in some areas so that I have my drawing right. So if it looks a little rough to begin with, it's a little rough to begin with. We'll get more exact as we go along. I'm also trying to find my drawing, which is a little bit sketchy in here. I want to find some of those shapes. And that would have been nice if I had done that. I'm just talking out loud to myself because I'm saying it would have been nice if I had first drawn in the black, because some of my whites weren't in the right places. It happens. Now see that what I mean about mixed media? I dragged a little of that in. Don't worry, you can erase. You can even erase waxy things. We just pull out my favorite eraser, which is the little white kind that goes on the back of your pencil. And I love it because it has an edge to it. So when I'm erasing and I want to have something erased back in the shape of the fur, I can use that edge to do that. Now I'm going back to my crayons and I'm going to keep it away from. Use the brown as an edge so you can keep it away from the other colors. If you're wondering why my white crayons are so short, I had broken them up so I had enough for a lot of people to use. We just needed them for a little resistant, a watercolor project that I'll do with you at another time. And I'm going to put in a little of the orange now. And it's not orange, like we don't need a pumpkin orange. We just need an orangey brown. You can even leave the paper for this part, for some of it. But I want to mark off that this is the area that eventually is going to have the orangey color in it. There's a little bit up here and there's a little more out there. Okay, let me get back to the eye. I want to do the highlight of the eye. Now right over that blue, I'm putting my white colored pencil, so it's going to make like a light blue. Somebody told me once that when you have animals outside, that the upper part of their eye reflects the sky, and the lower part, if I get a green here, seems to reflect the earth below. So it could have a little greenish to it down below. This tiger eye already does have a little green in it. But keep that in mind, that there might be a little green that is coming from. There's grass below and there is sky above. Now the tiger's eyelashes and fur from up above are going to also cast a shadow up here, up under the eye, up under the eyelid, and maybe around into the corner. And then I go over that. You can go over that with your crayon, with your colored pencil. If you ever go over edges, one color over the other, what happens is they blend together. So now down below, there's a little rim of light as well. So I want to get this yellow down here as light as it can be. It's not as white as up here in the highlight, so I'm going to put yellow back over it, but it's a nice light yellow. Gives it that feeling of a nice glow, sort of the glow in the bottom of a fishbowl. Right here in the eye is a little shaded as well. So the greenish part gets darker and I'm putting a little gray in. And again, I can go back over it with my green. And that will look wonderful. And where did my black pencil go? I want to make sure that that highlight seems to have a little stripe in it. And sometimes we have a little bit of the hairs from the tiger's actual hair up here reflecting down into this area. But the pupil is going to really stand out next to with the black next to that light. So that's a really realistic looking eye right now. You'd be surprised what colors are in there. I'm going to take a dark red because I am seeing this along the edge in the pupil, just a few little details in here. So it's shadowy along the edge, but it's not necessarily gray. I have a little reddish in here, and it's kind of coming in, you know, like this little sort of expandable accordion-like stripes that are in the iris of an eye. And then I also see a very light blue around where the tear duct would be. Now, since I already put some black down, I might put some white into that to get that to really show up. And along the ledge of the rim of the eye, because that's highlighted as well. In here and in here. Some of that is highlighted, but it has a sort of bluish look. You can just put the white right over the black. It'll look bluish because black has a lot of blue in it. If that's not too much information. Now my edge of the eye is very strong in black. You can go over that with a marker. You can go over it with a pen. Watch out with the ballpoint pen. Can you see that that has a little bit of reddish to that kind of ink? So sometimes a felt tip pen, but you might not have one small enough, so the ballpoint is okay. So places that are really, really dark, we can put some ink in there. There's nothing darker than putting actual ink in. That will be great. So ink, colored pencil, ballpoint pen, you're going to get your darkest black in some of these areas. And then there's eyelashes. It's actually kind of the eyelashes and the beginning of the fur going around the eye. And once we have our eye done, well, you could leave it at that, but we don't want to. So we put crayon down, and remember I said some of the fur is going to be brighter than some of the other fur. So you don't have to color everywhere, but I want to get those brighter furs in. Always make sure that your strokes are going not only the direction of the fur on the animal you're drawing, but that they are also the length. So if over here, as I get closer to where the nose would be, if that's going to be shorter fur, then I'm doing shorter strokes. And you can do fur strokes that go out because they make a sort of pointy out stroke, or you can go in like the furs that are pointing in between two other strokes that are going out. So with the brighter white, the colored pencil white, I'm getting some of the real standout whites. And with the paper and the waxy crayon underneath, I'm getting the grayer or darker. You can actually take a gray pencil. If it's very, like right here, I see some gray in my picture. You can Google your own picture, or you can just follow along with me. But I see some actual grayish fur. It's shadowy, or it's some of the black and some of the white going together. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to, every once in a while, I have to look on the screen and see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to put in some of the black fur. Remember, again, there's some black fur that's darker than other black fur. And some of it points out into the white, and some of that goes back in between the white that was at the other side of the stripe. There we go. And you can make this as detailed as you want. As detailed as you can. Now the fur is going down. It's kind of like if you have a nose, hair grows up and out, and then below the mouth it would be down and out, with the nose in the middle, and the nose has actually very short fur on it. Some of it grows up, and about at the middle it starts growing down. If you observe whatever animal it is that you're going to draw, you kind of get a feel for the anatomy, the shape of it, the bone structure, the direction of the fur. It all follows together. Okay, that's looking okay. Make it a little more white going up here. Don't get too sloppy just because I want to go fast. Sometimes you just want to go fast and get it done and see what it's going to look like, but sometimes you need to go slow. I find that with colored pencils, the more observant and the slower you go, the better your picture's going to be. I'm going to take a little bit of black marker and kind of fill in a little bit in some of these black areas just to give them don't worry, it will dry. So where it's solid black, I won't have any of the paper showing through. And I can go back and give that another layer of colored pencil or crayon or whatever you want over it, so that it blends in nicely. Same with my tiger color. I like these markers. Skinny markers will do skinny lines, obviously. And they have the old Crayola scented ones. And they have the other Rose Art ones. But they have new ones, and they are packaged as adult color pencils. And then what you'll get is you'll get more colors in that box. So that's a good box to have. Then you have your fat color pencils. Those are great for filling in large areas. Like all of this out here, this is all going to be brown on my tiger. All of this, except for where I have a black stripe, but that's coming up. That's good. But the best color, the best markers of all are the super tips, because they have a point if it's not too mashed. They have a point, and they have a wide side. If you use it on the edge, you get the wide side, and if you use it on the, oops, I gotta get another one. There's a point on it and a wide side. So you use it on the side if you need the wide side, and you use the little point if you need to get a few little tiny hairs like I was just starting to get up in here. So I can get the little hairs as well as, now remember, this is going to resist where you put down the crayon. But I don't mind if the paper shows through because it's brown too. And right here by the nose, the first sort of changes direction. So that's a good thing to notice too. And then over top of that, we're going to take our colored pencil. Give it a second to dry. Give it a little second to dry. And we're going to add in the brown fading in to the black. Some of the areas where that's happening. It won't resist the crayon, so you can draw right over that. Or someplace else that you want to not have a space. That's good. Now I'm going to go back with my black pencil again. Remember, we wanted to blend and make it look a little more natural where I had the where I put the marker down on these black stripes. I also had a few little dots that got covered up when I did the brown. And I want to make the edge of that look a little more natural. And there you go. Now that was pretty fast, but a fun project to do of making a tiger eye in whatever you have on hand. You can use the color pencils, the crayons, the markers, or all of those and make your own tiger eye. Looks just as beautiful. Here it is next to the other one, next to the photo. And you did just as good a job as the photo because you are just as good at it observing as a camera's eye. So enjoy your tiger eye. Thank you. Remember, go to www.lisarts.com and see when my upcoming classes are. Have a good day.